Like before we left, I was in the car with Nick. I was like, dude, want something crazy? I'm gonna propose over there. He was like, what? And we started like spitballing all these like places. My first idea was to do it in a London phone booth, but I thought about it more. I was like, nah, I think Abbey Road would be better. Like,
All right, guys, welcome back. You know, sometimes it's good to be serious. You know,
uh,
we'll get there one day. Have you? I mean, obviously, Haley, you could speak on this. How serious has David gotten since you guys have been together?
In a sense, he's gotten a lot more serious about the relationship,
Yeah.
and a lot more goofy within the relationship.
Oh, that's okay. That's interesting. What do you mean by that exactly?
So I feel like, obviously, like as we've known each other longer, the goofier he's gotten, which I think is fantastic because somebody who can make me laugh is really attractive.
Right,
so
right,
this guy, handsomest guy in the
Oh,
whole world.
That's crazy. So you're the most interesting man. You're Dos Equis now.
that's right. That's right.
We're gonna start making commercials, but you have to say it in Polish. The Polish beer version of Dos Equis. What would that be?
Kurwa much.
Wait, okay, fair enough. So then we haven't talked in what, like, I want to say it's been a year, right?
I would
At
say
least?
at least.
Because when was it when you guys were staying?
Last time.
You guys were taking care of your mom.
So I was at my mom's house,
Yeah.
which was a while ago. At least a year and a half minimum.
At least a year and a half. So yeah, actually almost 2 then.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah, that's wow. That's okay. So how long have you guys been dating? Let's do the math here. You guys started dating what, 2021?
Yeah, August of 2021.
Well,
Well,
we
technically September.
We just hit 4 years, so
Congrats.
like
That's
2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
4 years. Wow. Look at that. I just turned around and you guys I mean, you guys are now living together, right? Before, you guys were kind of experimenting with it, right? Being at, you both were staying at David's mom's place for a little bit, taking care of it while she was in Poland. And then you guys had your own condo, right? How adjusted would you say you guys are to being like living together?
I think we're good already.
Pretty adjusted, I'd say. Yeah, pretty adjusted.
I remember there were complaints before about like the sleeping situation, like the somebody hogging the bed or something like that. Was that right?
Well, we got a really big one now, so
Yeah, we got a big king size bed now, just like I've always wanted my whole life. So
King size is the biggest, right?
no, there's a California king, and I think there's something even bigger than that too.
Oh,
But we don't need
it was
that.
California King and then whatever Shaq sleeps on.
Yeah, well, that's right. But those are like, I thought those were like custom. Those,
Maybe.
Me probably.
yeah, those have to be like a custom size because no way
Yeah, no,
normal size beds get that large.
no.
Probably not.
But anyways, okay, so you got more space.
Lot
Okay,
more
great.
space.
So then everybody's happy now, right?
Yeah.
So we figured that out. So the number one complaint was that, if I remember correctly.
Well, that's because he came in with it was a full size bed,
Okay.
and that was not enough for 2 people.
Yeah. No.
We
Well-
had that for a while, didn't we? The full size bed.
Yeah. I was fine with it.
He was-
could
I think it-
survived on it.
I think it was always me that was complaining about, like, oh my gosh, like this is my half of the bed. Get off my half. Get off my side.
So you like your space when
I
it comes to your sleeping situation.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
And then David, you've always see that's the thing is you've been in like a cramped bed.
Dude, I've grown
Yeah.
up on a twin bed and like my feet were like hanging off of it. So I've made it work. So
Yeah. No, that's makes sense, right? Like that's why he doesn't really care about it. But you've had a bigger bed, I imagine.
I always had a full growing up, like my entire life, and it was always just me, and I never had any siblings. Like even when I
Right.
had sleepovers with my friends, everybody would either have like their own separate thing to sleep on or whatever. So I was never really in a cramped situation. I never had a twin size bed. So yeah, it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird.
Well, so you got to in some sense you got to experience not necessarily like a sibling, but having somebody to share a bed with. And because like my brother and I always shared like a room, and then we had a bunk bed, and that was annoying within itself. But at some point there were times where we had to share the bed because we were moving, and a lot of times like we didn't have a ton of money growing up, so we used to live like in a basement at some point, and we shared a bed, and there was like 4 of us in a bed, and that's cramped.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so, but you get as a kid, like you don't know any different if you don't have like your own bed.
Exactly.
Once you have your own bed, well, now you know, and you're used to it, and you're kind of spoiled in that way, and that like, no, I like my space.
Yeah, and I mean, I never even had like our family dog sleep in my bed with me. Like, she'd come in the bed and lay with me throughout the day, but like never when I was asleep. So it was always
And
just me.
you've had a dog, right, throughout most of your life,
Oh
right?
yeah, I think there was 1 year of my life that I didn't have a dog, and
Okay.
that was it.
And since then, I mean, you guys have I see you have one here.
Yeah.
Do you have? Where's the other one?
So well, his
Well,
mom.
the other ones were my mom.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then just the one, right?
Yeah,
Do you guys want to get more?
I would eventually, I think, like to get Ziggy another dog, so that way he has a friend, because I feel like he relies on my attention a lot,
Right.
and I love him to death. He's everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes I really need my own space for a little bit.
Yeah, fair.
And so I think like getting him a friend, like when he would play with Ivy and Mishu, like
Mhm.
that was really sweet. He had his own thing going on with his own puppy friends, and it was really nice.
And we're talking about little dogs, by the way, for
Oh,
people
yeah.
watching. And so with little dogs, there's less of needing to walk them and all that, but they still want attention. They still want to be, in some sense, played with. And so then have you had bigger dogs before, or have you always had small ones? Because I've seen pictures where you've just pretty much had small ones, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest dog I ever had was a rat terrier, and even that's more of like a medium size kind of dog. So never any dog over 20 pounds, if that.
Would you consider that, or is that out of the question for you?
Like getting a big dog, I mean, I guess it depends
Right.
how big the dog is. Like I'm
David,
not.
You need a house for that. Like, you can't have our German Shepherd running around a little condo. Just not going to happen.
Well, then that begs the next question, right? We talked a little bit about it before we got on set, was like the moving situation. You don't want to be here too much longer, right?
I mean, of course, we love a house, but hearing the horror stories of trying to find one.
Hey,
Um,
yeah, we talked about that. It's been absolutely terrible. That's the best review I could give of it so far. It's just been terrible to buy a house right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know about before, after, what it's gonna be like, but right now, it is pretty difficult to get into a house without some kind of hiccup throughout the process. I just think it's just too long. The process it gets passed through too many hands. So you're just adding parts where it could go wrong, right? But that's another story for another day. Let's talk about let's catch up on what has happened since last time. We talked a little bit about, last time we chatted, we were talking about being in that house, taking care of your mom's house. Then you guys ended up coming back because you already had a condo at the time, right? So once your mom came back, you moved back into the condo, and then moved out of there eventually, right?
pretty quickly, too, yeah.
What happened with that?
Bad neighbors. Really bad neighbors.
And so I've had experiences with that too, and I think that makes or breaks just about any state. And you hear people talk about it when they have houses, right? Like neighbors on the side and all that. But when you have neighbors like upstairs, downstairs,
Yeah.
that, because I lived in an apartment for most of my adult life, and so that has been a challenge where that'll make or break my experience at some place, and it'll make me want to either stay or leave. And recently for me, I'm glad that, we're house shopping because noisy neighbors. We had kids running up and downstairs, there's parties all the time. So there was always noise. And that is like what gets me. So it's noisy. People don't care about like what you're doing. That's what sucks about living somewhere and will make my decision whether or not I stay. So you had to deal with that, right? The
Yeah.
noisy neighbors, problematic, aggressive, right?
Yes.
And you guys had like a scary incident with a neighbor trying to come downstairs and fight you, right? We talked about that, I think, last time.
Maybe.
Had that already happened yet or no?
I don't think so. No,
No,
'cause
not that.
That's why we leave.
That's why you left, right?
Yeah, that was kind of like the final straw.
Right. And so basically you guys had like a neighbor upstairs that was super noisy. And as things get kind of like fed up when there's no communication, because you guys didn't like talk beforehand, right? Like you guys
Not really, no.
didn't know each other, didn't have any contact, right?
No.
And so then you go what? Like you hear all this noise upstairs, and it's like what, the dog that was making a lot of noise?
I'm pretty sure it was like 7 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I was having none of that.
And so you do the thing with the broom, right? Like how most in like comedy shows you'll see.
Except it was my fist.
This was not a comedy.
It was my fist.
No, it wasn't. It was real life. And you hit the thing, right? And so then you get a different result in this time where this guy gets really upset and he comes downstairs
Yeah.
and he starts like threatening you guys. You took a video of it just in case, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so like that, when it gets to that point, that's like it's just it's not only is it not comfortable, is it safe now? Like that's the question that happens next. Like is it safe to even be here anymore?
Exactly. He told us to keep our doors locked. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I already don't feel comfortable with the security here. And like, now you're just making it worse.
Yeah. And you had your phone out, and I mean, it sucks that it has to come to that point where it's like, now I have to make sure I videotape it in case anything were to happen. And thankfully, nothing did, right?
Yeah.
That it was just like all noise, and then he went upstairs, right?
Exactly.
You guys didn't have any problems with him after that?
No, they actually ended up moving out before we did.
Oh, yeah. So, would you have stayed if
No.
no? What else made you want to leave?
Any of the neighbors upstairs, no matter if they were considerate or not, it was just the way the house was built that you could hear every single step a person.
Oh, that's a
would take.
problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem. So whoever ended up buying the place after that, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's the thing that sucks too with apartments or with any kind of complex is like if you have neighbors upstairs and downstairs, there's usually like how much insulation is there between? Because with apartment buildings, I don't know how it is with condos, but with apartment buildings, there's not a lot of layering in between, like up and down. And even left and right because it's just drywall in between. Where with like a house, you have the insulation, right? Because from the elements, so it's not going to be you're not going to be able to hear people outside as much on the inside as you would with like just drywall in between you guys. And that's what a lot of apartments are. It's just drywall in between if you have next door neighbors or whatever. So there's going to be more noise, and that's again, that's why I said I left, right? Like, or what made me want to leave is I could hear everything. I could hear music when they were playing it at past midnight. And upstairs, kids running around past midnight. Just, it gets to that point. So, anyways, so let's talk about the exciting part. Let's talk about the your trip to England. Walk me through and people watching what it was like. What were you guys out there doing? What was the plan?
Yeah, so initially we went out there because my best friend is actually getting married very soon, like next weekend.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be really fun. But we wanted to meet her out there because her and her fiance were going to be at Comic-Con. And so she's just like, well, why don't you come and join us for a day or two? And we're like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've always wanted to go to England. Thank you for giving me that excuse. So we planned out everything. We were going to do Comic-Con for a day, and we were going to see a bunch of Beatles sites. We went to both London and Liverpool. So,
fun.
Yeah, we did a lot in the time that we were there.
What was your favorite part? Like what was your favorite activity? Obviously, besides the most exciting part, but what did you like seeing there?
Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? It was like the Holy Land over there. I would say that my favorite part was we did what was called a Magical Mystery Tour over in Liverpool.
Okay.
And it was a 2-hour tour of going to see all the Beatles' houses, where they went to school, places they wrote songs about, like Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane.
Yeah.
And it ended off at the Cavern Club and on Matthew Street. And there were just so many people down there. It's like Beatles Central, that one street. It has so much history. That besides getting engaged, that had to have been my favorite part.
You guys did the walk, right? Like the Beatles walk. That was
at Abbey Road.
That was cool. That was cool. And when you saw that, is that the original? Like that's the original one, or was it like relocated for like the what do you, I guess, for memory, or was that actually the actual Abbey Road?
That was the actual Abbey Road, because if you're looking at the album cover, if you look off to the left, Abbey Road Studios is on the left-hand side. So, and that's exactly where it was.
Wow. And you guys took a picture there, and you guys did the walk. Was there a lot of people? Like, was it difficult to shoot, for example, like the walk across, or
yeah,
a lot of people going back and forth?
Yeah, but they actually like held up traffic too.
Oh.
Like, it's a busy street, and like
So it's not closed off.
No,
no.
People have to stop driving because like people are recreating the cover
Constantly. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So then, if it's an open road, it has to be really annoying for the locals.
Yeah, but it was extra busy that weekend because there was a Liverpool soccer/football game.
Oh, yeah,
and there were there were what we were told 500,000 fans showed up in Liverpool and London. So
wow, lots going on while you guys were there. And so let's talk about the engagement. Did you have any idea what was happening? Did you know anything?
No. Here's the thing. So he filmed a vlog of like everywhere we went while we were there.
Yeah.
And at that point, we were up for like at least 18 hours, and we went straight from the airport to the hotel, straight to Abbey Road, because it was like 20 minutes away. And I was just so out of it and so excited. I'm like, I'm going to Abbey Road. I can't wait. But while he was filming it, he was making like these subtle gestures at the camera, like something was going to happen. And I didn't know until I watched it. And I'm just like, I see it now.
Yeah. What were the gestures?
I was I think while we were walking to it, I was like filming us. I was like, Hey guys, so we're off to Abbey Road, and that's like where the fun begins, right?
Yes,
Oh,
I got you.
I was like, yeah, that's where it begins. Yeah, I'll see you there.
Okay, and so walk me through the like exact scenario where it happened.
So we ended up walking across the street a few times. But what I actually did before that was I called my dad because there's a camera at Abbey Road on one of the light posts.
Yeah.
And I told my dad I would call him when we were going to walk across Abbey Road. So I called him and I'm like, hey, like, here's the camera. Like, look at us. And we walked a few times and he's like, that's great. And, you know, we said our I love yous. We hung up.
Yeah.
And then we kind of just hung out there a little bit more. Like, we each walked back and forth. And then at one point we were standing like right on the sidewalk, like where the walkway ended. And what I didn't know was my dad was still watching this at home. And so,
Also, your dad knew.
well,
He didn't know, he just saw it.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So he was telling me like all of these really cute things, like
Yeah.
making all of these like Beatles references and how they really played a huge role in our relationship.
Right.
And then he got down on one knee and I was like, oh my gosh, like, wait, this is actually happening right now.
What were you feeling at that moment? Like, were you like, what was it? Like, what was it feeling like?
I was like so hyper fixated on the moment, and
Yeah.
literally on my head, I was just like, "Oh my god, this is happening!" Like
Yeah.
I waited my whole life for this.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like don't freak out.
Did was it like a thing of? Would you say there's like maybe like a flood of a bunch of different emotions at once and just overload, or?
Yeah, definitely, because it was the overload of, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. Like,
Sure,
I've
yeah.
always dreamed of this moment.
Yeah.
There was, I'm so tired from the plane ride.
Yeah.
And we had just walked like quite a bit to get there too. So there was like a lot of like being tired, but now this was like being like, oh my gosh, I feel so awake now.
Yeah.
Like, this is happening.
And would you say it was everything you thought it would be?
More than that,
More
because
than-
I never imagined that it was going to be at Abbey Road, because that was actually the first poster I ever had in my room. So I never, like, if I was the age like 12 or 13 looking at that poster, I never would have thought that I would have gotten engaged there ever.
So you got to give Davis some kudos on the planning then.
Big time. He did so well, and everybody that I tell is like, "Oh my gosh, you got engaged at Abbey Road," and I'm like, "Yeah."
What was the planning process like for you?
Dude, I was like before we left, I was in the car with Nick, and like we were doing something, I don't know. I told him, I was like, dude, want something crazy? I'm gonna propose over there. He was like, what? And we started like spitballing all these like places, and I had my first idea was to do it in a London phone booth, because we wanted to get a Lego, because we have a lot of Legos, right? And we want to get like a Lego set from something over there, and they have Lego sets of like phone booths.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, cool. Like we can get like this Lego thing of where we got engaged. But I thought about it more. I was like, nah, I think Abbey Road would be better. There's no Lego set for that, but I think that would be really
Not
cool.
yet.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I was freaking out, man.
How long had you planned that?
How long? Probably no more than like a month.
Well, because the plan was that you were going to go there anyway, right? And so then the plan was already set, and you thought, okay, that would be the proper.
Yeah. I kept trying to move Abbey Road visit to somewhere else. I didn't want to do it immediately because I knew we were going to be really tired. But I couldn't be like, dude, could we like not do Abbey Road for like until the end, because for some reason I don't feel like doing it right now.
Yeah.
That probably would have gave it away. So
How difficult was it to keep the secret?
I mean, not too difficult. Like while we were walking there, I had like the ring box in my pocket, and I was like filling around with it, and like at the spot we stood there for like several minutes, and I was just holding it behind my back, just goddamn, I can't do this, because there was like so many people there too, and that's really,
it's more pressure.
annoying. So yeah, it took me a while, but
So you were freaking out. You had freaked out when you got proposed to.
Yeah.
What were you going through when you were about to, let's say, like, what was your cue for when you were gonna?
I didn't really have one in my head. In my mind, I would have done it right, because, well, if you know Abbey Road, there's a song called "I Want You, She's So Heavy," and one of the lyrics are, "I want you so bad, it's driving me mad," and I wanted to get down on my knee after I said that line, but I still couldn't do it. I still stood there for a while. I was like, oh man, I got to keep I forgot. I don't even remember what I was saying. I was just trying to hold it over for as long as possible.
So really what it was is you were just trying to gain the courage to just do it,
Yeah,
right?
basically.
Yeah, and that's, see, like, not many people, I mean, I don't know what that's like, so you don't really know until you, A, you're in public, right? And then B, you're asking a very vulnerable question, which at any point you can go, no, right? Which you hope not, which all the time you guys have been spending together, but there's still always, like, it's still a question,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I had always wondered because he really did seem like nervous in the moment.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I'm like, why was he so nervous? Like, I was never going to say no in the first place. But I don't know if you ever imagined me saying no or what, but I think I've made it clear that I would not turn you down.
It was not that at all. It was just, there's a lot of people and it's a big thing. So
That's
right,
very true, yeah.
right. Just attracting because then you worry, like, oh, what if I drop it? Like, what, like, what if I get down on one knee and you're turned around and people laugh or whatever, right? There's that. So it was more that for you than it was, what if she says no?
yeah, I was not thinking, oh man, what if I get rejected?
Okay.
That was not even on my mind.
And that's one of the things, by the way, that we bullied David about for a while, which was like, she's not going to say no. We know she cares about you, and like, this is not, if you do not propose, we are not going to forgive you for this. And we put a lot of pressure too on David, on like, just do it already. Like, we all know that you guys are going to be together, so just do it. And I think it's just that, like, how am I going to do it? Then do I do it in front of people? And that, by the way, is what made, I think, that more special, that he was willing to do that in an uncomfortable situation in front of people that he did not know, that he could have messed up on. And that's the cool part.
Yeah, I think it is too, because I know that he doesn't really like to be around a whole lot of people, and I don't either, to be honest. So I definitely appreciated that, like, so much more, because I understand how it's, like, being in those kinds of situations,
Right.
feeling that pressure. So it kind of made that moment feel a little bit more special. Like, he's willing to go through, like, being uncomfortable and still willing to ask me this very important question and try to make it as special for me as he possibly can.
And it also, it kind of prepares you for, like, future problems, because, like, future problems, you guys have obviously what do you call in-laws, right? And so with in-laws, there's just always going to be that thing where, like, oh, I have to be uncomfortable at times. Maybe at times I have to have uncomfortable conversations, and that, all that stuff, I think, is practice for what you guys are going to do in the relationship, which is just at some point have difficult conversations. At some point you're going to have, whether with each other or with like in-laws and whatnot. And so I think it's a great practice for that stuff. Speaking of, right, what has that been like for you guys? Is that still a challenge, in-laws, or how has that gone? You could be honest, or we could skip it. It's up to you. We don't have to talk about it.
I think in a whole, it's definitely been a challenge. And I think it's been a challenge, at least on my part, because I'm my parents' only child. And so this is their first time going through all of this.
Right.
So, like, even from when we first started dating, getting up to this point, it's been somewhat of a struggle, but they've been, like, really warming up to the idea now. They've been helping me a lot with planning. I mean, my parents, I have my dress already. My parents bought my dress. They bought us our photographer. So, they've been helping us out a lot, and they're, definitely warming up to the idea now.
They're bought in.
Yes, exactly.
And I think, like, a lot of times, and you have to kind of give that credit too, where when it's difficult for in-laws to warm up to somebody, especially because you're an only child, that's going to be a thing to consider all the time, where it's like, yeah, they're going to be maybe afraid to let you go. Is that the right word?
Yeah, and I think another part of it is, obviously, like, he's not a super big talker, so that's kind of another thing that they're worried about, because they don't know him, but I'm just like, but I know him, and he makes me really happy, and I know I can trust him. Of course, I want everybody to get along. Like, that would be fantastic.
Sure.
But that, that's it. If it takes time, if it takes a long time, it is what it is,
And that's where we talked about, like, again, going back to the being in uncomfortable situations. If you do that enough times, I think, I'm not saying it gets, like, easy at any point, but it's at least doable, like, approachable, where it's like, yeah, if we need to have a conversation at some point, I'll gain the courage, right?
Yeah.
At some point to do it. And I think also, like, is it realistic to to put that pressure to have like the best possible, I mean, obviously to have like a great best friends relationship with in-laws, I don't know if that's even necessarily like a fair expectation, because everybody's got their own personality.
Yeah, I don't know. I never expected best friends like
Right.
super tight, you know. I always imagined at least like him and my dad like not necessarily like going on an outing and being like, "Hey son, let's go fishing." Like,
Sure.
you know. But I guess at least carrying out a more substantial conversation, seeing them, you know, getting along, having a nice time.
Right.
And it's not that they don't have a nice time, because I like when we're at gatherings, like I will see my dad like, you know, making that effort to talk and everything, and I know he doesn't like small talk so much.
Well, go for it. You go
Yeah,
for it.
I just don't have anything to say like ever.
What do you think it is though? Do you think it's just that you don't relate?
I don't know. It's just not me, man.
What isn't you though?
I can't just talk about anything.
Right.
It's like I have these like 3 things I'm interested in, and that's it.
Yeah.
So like we have to talk about this, otherwise I don't know which one.
And I think that's the difficulty then, right, for your parents too, is like, are they interested in anything he's interested in?
Yeah, so thankfully my dad actually will like he'll ask him about his band and like the videos that he does on his YouTube and all that stuff. So I know he'll ask mainly about those and like what albums he's listening to right now. So he definitely tries to connect with him in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how has he had a band, your dad? Has he been involved in music at all?
No. No.
And so then that's difficult on that side, right? Like,
Exactly, yeah.
to relate to him. And what can you do in those situations? I'm just like, maybe you have an idea. How do you think, in your mind, if you could have what you wanted, if you could paint like a perfect picture of like what's the ideal for you with your parents and David? You mentioned it a little bit, that you can carry on a conversation, but ultimately, is that what you want, or is that where you think you would be okay with?
That's where I would be okay with, you know. I would feel okay if I knew they were comfortable with, yeah, we know enough about David, you know, we like him, he's a great guy, all that stuff. Whereas of right now, they're still saying like, you know, we're a little on the fence because we don't know a whole lot about him. He just doesn't talk to us that much. And it's not because, you know, he's trying to be mean or anything. You know, like he said, it's like, you know, it's just not in his nature.
Like I don't even talk to I went like a whole month without even like texting my mom.
That's what I told them too. I'm like,
it's just not what I do.
Yeah.
I just don't talk.
Well, you were self-reliant. You had to be self-reliant young, because you were the oldest of your siblings, and so that meant that after they were born, you kind of were like on your own to some sense, right? Like you were independent since
pretty much since my brother was born. I got moved to the basement, and then that was it.
Yeah,
that was basically it.
And so then there's that perspective too, that they haven't seen or experienced. And that's hard to relate to if that's not how they grew up.
Exactly.
So you have a lot of stuff to deal with, to different personalities, and then different upbringings. So like that's going to be uncomfortable for them too. And so what it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, what you just want is that that they trust the situation that you're in the way that you trust it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that will never completely be the case because they will never know David like I do. And I mean, I would think you know him differently than I ever
Absolutely.
would. So I don't expect them to ever know him on my level. I would just want it to be where it's just a nice, happy conversation. Everyone is having a nice time together, you know. That's
a really interesting point you made. We all have different versions of David. Of like, that's true. Like I grew up with him in a different way, like having a different personality type. And even with you, he's going to be very different with you than even he is with us as a group, because we already have a system, right? Like when it's me, Nick, and David, right? Like when we all get together, there's a certain system there. There's a flow there. When it's me, John, Vince, and Anthony, that's a different flow. And so like there's different versions of us that come out with different people, and that's normal. That's okay. It's just interesting that you mentioned that, because that's true. Your parents will never know him in the way that you know him. I will never know David in the way that you know him. And sometimes I do think that that's special, because you have like a specific version of that person for yourself.
Yeah, it's a special connection, and I like what I have.
Yeah, and that's awesome, because then hopefully, right, the hope is that at some point your parents will see some of what you see, right?
Yeah, I would hope so.
And it's that's the challenge of creating, essentially unifying a family. And I've heard that a lot about marriage, that you're not just marrying each other, you're also marrying the situations that you come from, so like your families and all that. And so, like it or not, right, it's one of the things that you have to deal with.
Exactly. And I've seen how his family dynamic is different than mine, because I've noticed that like his mom only seems to reach out when she needs something. And whereas I go and see my parents pretty much every week. I text with them throughout the week. Sometimes I'll even chat with them on the phone. Like,
it's more transactional.
Yeah.
It sounds like, yeah. That's familiar to me, actually, the transactional relationships. And that's just she probably had parents that were also like, it's just emotional absence, really. They're just not good with emotions. And so how do they show like that they care? Well, hey, can you come help me with this thing?
Yeah.
Because they can't like do the emotion part. And so the closest they can do is like, hey, can you do this for me? Because I want to see you. They can't just say, I want to see you, right? That's the challenge. And I know, because I've experienced it. And maybe it's a different situation for you, but you're used to it at this point, and it's normal, right?
Yeah. I'm comfortable for where I am at. So.
I mean, I kind of have an idea of what the answer might be, but what has your relationship been with David's mom, if any?
It was okay at first. It recently kind of went down the toilet a little bit.
Can I ask about that?
Yeah. So, she was getting a little angry because her name was not on the title of the condo. Because what had happened was she had paid for the first condo, and then when we moved out of there, we used that money, but then we also each put in some of our own money to get the current place we're in right now.
Okay.
And his mom had obviously signed papers to sell the other place. But she was overseas when we were looking at new places, and she wasn't here to help us with any of that. Right. So all in all, he wasn't able to get a loan by himself. So I had to be on the loan.
Right.
And so both of our names were, on the title. And so she was, kind of,
upset about it.
Yeah, upset about that, calling him one day. And I'm just like, she was saying that like we were stealing from her and all that stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, she thinks I'm a gold digger now.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, that's not at all why we're here, because, I mean, I don't need his money. I don't need her money. Like, I'm fine on my own. Like, my parents can help me. I'm not about that.
Was there an understanding that it was a gift?
That's initially when she had first talked to me. She's like, for the first condo, she's like, I'm not buying this place for you. I'm buying this place for him. This is for him. So
right.
And I'm like, oh, so this is a gift for him.
Right.
So I'm like, fine, perfect. So then when this came up, I'm like, I thought this was a gift, because she was either going to give him money or buy him a condo. So I'm like, that's a gift,
Beforehand, because you said that it wasn't bad before, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, she came over to the first place we were in,
yeah.
And me and her chatted for like 2 hours, and he wasn't even home. So I thought it was nice, and she even told me, she's like, I like you so much better than his ex, and I'm like, oh, gee, thanks.
Yeah, well, and so then that must have been confusing.
Yeah, it was. I was just like, how does it go to 0 from 100 like this? I'm like, and I don't know.
That's just the way it's always been, man. Because during all that, I was like, relax, I'll handle this. I know how this goes. And I handled it.
But what did she, ultimately the complaint was that she felt as though...
My mom didn't want both of our names on this place just for her to leave. And then, now half of it's for her now.
Right.
My mom was worried about that. So I was like, okay, so if we get married, then we don't have a problem, right? She was basically like, I guess. So... All right, let's take care of that.
He took care of it.
Yeah. And what is your mom? Has your mom found out about the engagement?
Oh yeah.
What does she think?
I mean, she's
I don't know.
She's still like over in Poland. She's been there for like a couple months already. But I don't know. We haven't really talked about it, honestly. But big shock.
That right?
We haven't really talked.
But but she knows.
Yeah. I mean, both my siblings are like standing up in the wedding.
Okay.
Yeah, so. Like we actually went over to his mom's, and we all sat down and talked about it. So, and then there was an issue that came up there too.
Well, I'm going to ask until you say
oh, yeah.
you don't want to talk about it. What happened with that?
So we were just talking about like where it was gonna be, and we're just like, we don't want a really big wedding. And then she's like, well, who are you inviting, and how many people are on your side, and how many people are on his side? So I'm like, well, a lot of these people are gonna, I would say a good chunk of them, 70% of them are probably gonna be for me, because he doesn't talk to most of his family.
90 and 10. I'm already inviting like 4 uncles and aunts.
Yeah,
and that's it for my side, because I have a billion cousins. And I can't just invite. If I invite all of them, we're doubling our wedding size, and we can't afford that. So
yeah, the thing with it was, for me, was I'm just like, well, you don't talk to them, and I have a whole. I talk to everybody in my family. Plus, I talk to my people at work too. So it's like I have to invite those people. Whereas it's like, if you don't talk to these people, he doesn't even know who has kids and who doesn't, and who they belong to. I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Do you think your mom wants to be like, does she want to be involved in the process? Is that, because it sounds like to some degree, like she seems upset over like not having as much representation on your side of the family.
But my mom was fine with it.
Really?
I mean, kind of, maybe.
What?
I don't know. It's been weird, man. It's just been a lot.
Well, how do you think your mom isn't handling the you getting married thing well?
I mean, I guess neither of her parents are. I mean, it came out of nowhere, which. I mean, yeah, it's not like the 50s anymore where I'm like, ooh, can I get your blessing? Like, oh, it doesn't work like
my
that.
parents really wanted that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it's more traditional, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go through all that, because it was just like, man, I just gotta get this.
Do you think your mom was expecting that too?
Mama asked me, like, when do you guys get married? I was like, I don't know, maybe soon. So, I don't know. It's just been a lot. It's been a lot of back and forth.
So what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of emotions that aren't being talked about, and so they're surfacing like in these like exchanges, because like something is obviously happening for his mom for her to get that upset about something like that, when originally, because like clearly she doesn't want for you to have like control over the situation, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know, because I never sat down and actually talked with her. These are my intentions with your son. And maybe that's the reassurance that she needs, because I'm not going to be like, I'm only with your son for his money, because Lord knows that's not the case.
Right.
It's a lot more than that. And I think that's kind of what needs to happen in order for some sort of harmony to be achieved, is, for me to sit down with her and be like, my intention is not to leave him and take half your money. I don't want that. Like, that's the last thing that I'd ever want to happen.
And it just sounds like there's just a lack of trust in that. And I think that might just be that in both cases, actually, that you guys, I don't know. It's just like there hasn't been enough interaction that they deem like trustworthy, because they have different views of what trustworthy looks like versus what you find trustworthy. And so then you get back to that thing of like, what is the middle ground?
Exactly.
And I think that'll be the thing for you guys, maybe to figure out where that line is, if it can be reached in a way that isn't gonna hurt your guys' relationship, because that's gonna be priority at the end of the day, right?
Oh yeah, that's my priority right there. That's number one, always.
That's super sweet. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, as long as that exists, right? Like, you guys can face any obstacle, because it really should be like you guys against the world, right?
That's exactly we don't fight often, but every time that we do fight, like once we cool down a little bit, I always tell him, I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to nag at you or anything. I'm just, we're in this together. And I remember there was one time where we did have a fight, and I wanted to work things out quickly. I'm a person who needs to get things done. And I'm just like, how are you not worried about this? Like, what's going on right now? And he's just like, well, we always end up figuring it out in the end anyway, so I'm not worried. And I'm like, okay, you have a good point.
Yeah. Well, that's a reassurance that's important. Like, could you imagine if you were, and I've experienced it myself, right? Having a relationship or an argument in a relationship where you're like, not sure, right? Like, I don't know if this is going to be the one.
Yeah.
Right.
But here's the thing, and I'm really lucky because I've never not been sure. Like, if we've ever had a fight, like, I've never been like, oh my gosh, is he going to leave? Like, maybe that was an anxious thought in the back of my mind, but I'm like, no, that's logically not going to happen. Not with him. I trust him to, work with me, us work together through whatever problem this is.
Yeah. That's all you can really ask for, really, because you can't ask for not to fight. You can't ask for not to have conflict, because in fact, I think that if you don't have the conflict, that's a problem. Like, if you don't have disagreements that you guys can openly say, Like, I don't think this should be done this way, or A, B, and C for whatever reason. If you can't do that, there's something going on. Like somebody's holding something, and if that happens, that's just a bottle waiting to explode, right?
Exactly.
But you guys don't have that, as I understand.
I don't think so. No.
What's the biggest challenge you guys really have? Because you mentioned like sometimes you guys have arguments. Do you think that they're like arguments over something subtle, something little, like, or?
I would say that things that we argue over the most are probably the dog.
Okay.
And ways that I need to be reassured. So as for the dog, I mean, he's mean to the dog a lot.
Okay. And that bothers you?
Yeah. Like Ziggy gets really scared, like when he like yells and stuff like that. So I'm just like, don't do that, you know.
Right.
I always tell him every single day, I'm like, be nice.
Yeah. David, what do you think about that?
I know what he's gonna call the dog.
Dog's a little shit.
Well, you grew up with dogs as well, right? Like the puppies were around.
Well, yeah, but the main difference is that like I had a dog mainly for most of my life, but it was just like it just showed up in my room occasionally, and that was it. Like,
I do remember that. Yeah,
he is just always there, and I'm like, that really annoys me. Just because, like, sometimes I just go away, and can we just enjoy each other for a little bit, for the love of God? I don't want to, like, he's on our walls. I want to see him like every minute of the day because he's always around. And you know, even when we were
show the camera that one.
He is always around.
Even like my mom's 2 dogs now, like when we were over there, like they would chill by themselves occasionally. Like they would be able to survive alone for 5 minutes, but not him. He's always got to be around. He's always got to be on us. Just like go away sometimes.
Yeah, he has some anxiety issues.
Yeah, like separation anxiety.
Yes, he does.
And so that's where really like the main nerves come from, right?
Yeah, because I'm used to taking care of a dog.
Yeah.
Our family's dog just recently passed away. She was 16. She was going to turn 16, but we got her when she was a puppy, and so way younger than Ziggy.
Yep.
And so I was just so used to being taught how to take care of a dog from that young of an age and being around them all the time. And so that is normal for me. Like walking on me, always being there, it's always like perfect. But it's like even when he's just laying down next to me, he's not having it.
What is Ziggy to you? Does Ziggy feel like a family member, like a sibling in some way?
Yeah. Well, my son, yes.
Yeah, because you were only child.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that was kind of like your only, well, I wouldn't want to say friend, but your only really family member that was maybe younger than you.
Yeah, exactly. So my family's dog felt like a sister to me, to be honest, because of the way my mom treated her, and like she was spoiled, but in like a really good way. We would even put her on the chair sometimes at the table while we were all eating, and I know some people would be like, "Ew, that's
we ain't having none of that here. Ain't never happening."
And so then what that means is like Ziggy was like your companion, because when you didn't have siblings, and I remember you mentioning actually the first time we chatted was about with friendships, like, you know, you didn't have like a large group of friends growing up. And so then when you come home, right, like by being an only child, and David, I think you could understand that as well, because you were, even though you had siblings, you kind of were an only child to some extent because you were in that basement by yourself. So realistically, you didn't interact with your siblings much. And so for you, you had like a dog always like as like a play friend or sibling, something, family member anyway.
Exactly.
And that I can understand, right? That like because it can be probably, I would imagine, lonely.
Yeah. And I mean, there was one point where he was working like a lot, and my anxiety issues were like through the roof. Like at that point in my life, I had medication, it was therapy, it was all this stuff.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I need a dog. I don't like being alone. I need a dog. And so that's why we got Ziggy.
Yeah. So that's what it is at the end of the day, is just that companion.
Yes.
That like, because you were alone as a kid growing up a lot, you don't like being alone, and that dog is a reassurance.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I want something that's always going to be there when I come home, and that's what Ziggy is all the time. Every time I open up that cage, he's jumping on me, and he's so happy to see me. Like, I love it. That's perfect.
And David, what bothers you? Is it that like you feel like into some capacity, Ziggy's like a third wheel?
He's a little weasel. Like
What-
yeah, because we got him because he was having like major problems. I was like, okay, fine, just get a dog.
Yeah.
And I was never really crazy about him to begin with. So
So from the beginning, you weren't a fan of like the energy. Is it just like that he's always
this is mostly Chihuahua, and I've never wanted a Chihuahua in my life.
okay?
So
And you've
Paris was Chihuahua, purebred Chihuahua.
so you're gonna want a Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
I just wish we got another one.
So there's gonna be, I guess, in that scenario, like that disagreement is gonna be there. It sounds like that there's. So what's the middle ground? Do you guys think?
Man, when I like go full time and I can afford one, we're gonna get a second dog, and I'm gonna pick them out. I'll pick them out, and then they can have their like little friends, and then I'll have a dog that I want, and everything will be fine.
Fair enough.
Just can't afford it right now.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, whatever Ziggy needs, I pretty much pay for that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so it sounds like it's to some degree. Is there? Do we think that there's a, what do you call it, compromise somewhere there? In the meantime, anyway.
In the meantime, no, but let's get another one. So, we'll be fine.
I think there's a road to compromise, but
Yeah. So like, it sounds like depends on how long it is, how long it takes before you guys get the other dog. Because do you think like at some point it's going to really bother you,
What really bothered me?
the having Ziggy?
I mean, it's whatever. I think the worst part is already past us. So now I'm just like, tell them to get the hell out of here, like a bunch.
Right.
So I don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So you feel like the adjustment hump, like of this is what this dog is like, is you're past that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's just like the annoyance of like, I'm having a bad day and you kind of like top it type
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like I come home, open the door, and he's barking.
Yep.
He'll be over here, and he knows it's me, and he'll still bark.
Do you think Ziggy likes
And I'm
you?
like, man, it's complicated.
I think the reason that he barks when he comes home is because Chihuahuas are very territorial and they stick to one person,
Oh.
and that person is me. So if somebody comes in this place and I'm here, more times than not, and especially if he's being particularly aggressive, being really loud,
Right.
then he's gonna bark at him.
So he perceives David as a threat.
He's the only one that he barks at anyway.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that
He
either.
loves
I
going
went
to my parents. He loves when people come over here. It's literally just him.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I think there's an agreement that
fuck, you little shit.
there's an agreement that they don't really like each other too much. But well, yeah, I mean there's really I don't know. I guess like there's just a middle ground at some point. And it sounds like you guys have some sort of solution for that, right?
I just say be nice. Like if I tell him, I'm like, if he's sitting on the couch, not even on me, but if he's next to me, leave him alone. He's not bothering you. He's not bothering me. Just leave him. And even when he's underneath the blanket, you have to like rile him up.
Yeah, I mess with him a lot.
Even when
Yeah.
he's out of sight.
Yeah. You bully him then.
Basically what it is.
Give me your lunch money, kid.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I understand it from both perspectives, and it's just challenging because, like, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's a huge deal, right?
No, I
That's
mean,
what I'm hearing.
once in a great while, there's something that he'll do that will like break things that have been building up specifically about that. And then it's just like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think at some point maybe it'd be worth you guys coming up with a compromise. I don't know, because like little things do build up, like you mentioned, and then there's I guess like the thing that I don't know, I'm not an expert in any of this. It's just an opinion. I think that resentment is like a thing to avoid. Like at some point you can only have so many conversations about the same thing before like somebody goes like that.
No, we've been there before, but I think what the issue is that once I get to a certain point, I am able to see things, at least to a certain point from his standpoint.
Yeah.
But he has a hard time putting himself in other people's shoes.
Empathy.
And yes, pretty much.
Empathy. Yeah.
And that's why, like, he will do these things without thinking, like, what is she going to think if I do this?
Right.
How is she going to feel if I do this? I don't think that ever really occurs too much. But I would hope that one day it would click. I would hope so.
Have you guys considered like even just like not that, because I think like it's a good preventative measures are always good, I think, and like not that, oh, you should go talk to somebody because you guys are on the brink. I think if you wait that long, you've waited too long, and I've experienced that. And when you wait that long, it's too late. The resentment is there, and so it's not too late, but it's really difficult to walk back all of that resentment. And so I don't know. Have you talked about maybe having like some form of counseling for that, for just to keep you guys in tabs?
I would love that.
Bro, I just don't like the dog. That's it. There ain't nothing more complicated than that.
But I mean, it sounds like, I don't know. It sounds like it bothers Hayley enough at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It builds up, maybe 2-3 times a year, I'd say.
Yeah. And so like, I'm not saying like, yeah, like that's you guys are fighting over it every day. I mean,
No.
that's not the case. But preventative in terms of like, how can we make the relationship better?
Yeah. And see, like, I would love that because I was consider like just doing it for like just myself again. But, I feel like it would be a really good point to start doing that, especially with us planning the wedding. And eventually we're going to get to a point as we get closer, it's going to get really, really stressful. And I feel like it would be a good thing for us to do something like that, just to, keep each other in check, make sure we're not fighting about unnecessary things at that point.
Because like David, like there's a lot of, I don't know, I want to hear your opinion on it, because there's a lot of stuff that like what I figured out for me, because I know if you know me from since what, middle school, elementary school, I was always very like, I want to do this way, and didn't ask what anybody else wanted to do, didn't care for it. And for me, it was just that lack of empathy, lack of being able to put myself in other people's shoes. And at some point that has affected me. And you don't know how much it affects you until you have that like conversation with somebody who understands this better than you about like, oh, this is where this is coming from. Because like to me, a lot of the stuff that I thought were no problems, like, no, this is normal. Like me getting upset about something. No, I'm not. There's nothing deep about it. Like that's how I felt. Like there's nothing deep about it. It's just this. But like that was just the mask to the real problem. Like that was my excuse to not deal with the real problem, because the real problem is something way deeper. And I know I haven't had access to that. I don't know. David, do you think that maybe there's something bigger than what you think is bothering you with it?
I have no idea. And I'm not paying someone $80 an hour to tell me what it is.
That's what insurance is for.
Yeah, well, I trash insurance. Never mind.
Look, like it, I have to admit, for me, like the insurance thing with therapy has been difficult. There's no way around that.
Yeah, they don't make that easy.
They don't make it easy.
They don't.
It's rough. I got lucky in my situation that at some point I was paying like still too much in my opinion. Like sessions were, if it's no insurance involved, $160 flat rate.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Right? So, okay, insurance gets involved. You still have to pay $80. $80 is still too much for me.
Yeah, $80 is a lot. I'm lucky because I've been looking with my insurance recently, and I know that one-on-one, if you did it with insurance, was like $15. And I'm like, $15 a session. Like, to me, like, if I get some peace of mind, at least for myself, that's worth it. Like, that's nothing compared to $80, I know $15 is $15, but at the end of the day, that's something that I can put that investment in.
Yeah. And so yeah, like the money is going to be the problem with that. And I understand the sentiment like that. Like, how's this person supposed to tell me? My dad used to say this actually. He said like, how could somebody who didn't experience my life tell me about my life? That's what my dad used to say. And I understand the sentiment. I get it, because, and actually it's not their job anyway to tell you what your life is like. It's your job to figure out what your job is like, or what your life was like. But they just ask you questions that you might have never asked yourself to really dig at what it might be. And that's what it really comes down to, because my understanding of therapy was something like that. Well, they're supposed to help me figure out my life, right? Like they know clearly more than I do about how life works. And that's not true at all. In fact, I hear I don't know more often than not from my therapist. Like that's well, like when I ask questions about, well, what was I supposed to do in this? I don't know. What, and that's, why did you do this? And that's the question of, well, why did you do that? Because you don't have control over anybody else. It's like, why did you do that? Because that's something that like, oh, well, I did it because A, B, and C. It's like, okay, but what about it? Like, why did you feel you need to do that? And then once you start digging that, you start like really peeling the problem. And that's what therapists do. Like, therapy is not like they tell you what you're supposed to do in your life. That's actually, if they do that, that's a big problem. My therapist told me that, like, anybody that gives you advice, like, therapists really aren't there to give you advice. They're there to help you figure out what you need to do, like mitigate why you did what you did, and then give you tools to help you figure out the problem, but not tell you how to figure it out.
Exactly. Like when I had a therapist a couple of years ago or whatever, I mean, that's exactly what he did. He would, ask me those questions and, help me try to dig deeper. And then he'd actually, like, after the whole session was over, would actually like send me the tools that I needed on the app to like work with throughout the next week. And then I'd report to him the next week and he'd be like, how did you use these tools? Were you in any of these situations? What happened? And it was very helpful for me.
Yeah. So obviously, David, you're going to have your opinions on it, and I mean, you're allowed to have them. And I think like the important question is like, if at some point it became a big enough problem where, all right, this is a problem, is there, that would be a different scenario for you, I imagine.
I mean, maybe. Like I said, I just can't. Who the hell can afford that nowadays, man?
It's difficult. All right. Like I don't think there's that arguing that.
Especially getting married and dropping 10 grand on a venue and then getting a house and all that. It's like, I do not have no spare cash to talk to someone for an hour.
It's really, like, I will say it is challenging to get into it. It is challenging to figure out, because like, I'll say another thing too. And this is what I don't like about the environment of like therapy, because this can make or break your experience. You've been in therapy, right?
Yes, correct.
How long?
I want to say I did mine for maybe 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What was your experience? Would you say it was positive?
Yeah, it was definitely very positive. I felt like I had somebody that I could rely on, even when it was a day that I didn't have a session.
And one of the things that I've noticed, I was fortunate too. Not the first time with couples counseling, by the way. When I tried couples counseling, poor guy. He was in school. He was still getting his hours. It was 2020. So everybody was in therapy. Everybody. Nobody had, like, I remember like 6 months was the earliest appointment we could get with like an actual licensed social worker. That's how far out it was.
That's crazy.
6 months. So it's like not possible. Right. And so then I'm like, yeah, we need to get whatever. And so at some point we got connected with like this student. Well, not student, but like he was getting his hours. So he didn't have his license yet. So poor guy, right? The couples therapy, I imagine, is way more difficult than individual therapy. And in fact, I think individual therapy for me was better and more helpful than like in the group, because I could think, like, I don't know, I didn't have a good therapist, I would say, for couples counseling. So I don't want to completely say couples counseling is the problem, rather than, because I had a good experience with just my individual therapist. But anyway, point I'm trying to make is that my therapist, I got fortunate that when I got paired with my therapist, it was a good mix. Because if let's say, for example, you meet up with a therapist, you don't like the guy, that's a problem. Like that could ruin your view of therapy, and it ruins a lot of people's view of therapy. So like, it is difficult, right? Because you have to go and tell this person your story, and if you don't mix well, it's like, this doesn't work. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, right?
Exactly, yeah. And you got to make sure that whoever this person isn't putting their own personal feelings into the mix. Like, hey, buddy, I feel so bad for you. Like, you can't bring in that personal aspect. You got to look at it from professional, kind of like you were saying, like, just give me the tools that I need,
Yep.
and I will fix the problem. I will work on it. Just give me what I need.
And it's so much more empowering to do it that way.
Yeah.
Because like, if it's somebody, because either way it's a lose-lose if they tell you what to do. Because if they tell you what to do and it works, now they just solved you rely on them now to solve your problem. And now you're less dependent, or I'm sorry, you're less independent. And if they tell you what to do and it doesn't work, well, now you resent them because they got you into more trouble.
Yeah. I liked when I had like 2 or 3 different tools to choose from.
Right.
Then at least I'm able to pick one. I'm able to decipher which one I think is going to work for the situation at hand and work it out myself. And then be like, oh, shoot, this one didn't work. Okay, let me try it this way then.
Yep. So yeah, I think that road is really challenging. There's no easy way to do it. And sometimes it's about luck too. Like, are you fortunate enough to get the right person? But we could talk about that all day. I think at some point it'd be a good idea to talk about what it is that you guys have planned for the future. Because we have, let's see, 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Left before marriage.
Yeah.
Well, what are you guys thinking of doing for are you guys doing like a party coming up to it, like a bachelorette type deal?
Yeah. So I'll definitely, my parents are going to throw me a bridal shower at some point for like, and obviously he's invited because duh, why not?
Yeah.
For all of the women that are going to be attending the wedding. And then I did actually yesterday, I'm like, oh, my best friend's doing like combined bachelorette party. I love that idea. And he's just immediately like, nope. So, and I'm like, I don't care either way.
Yeah.
I like the idea, but I'm not opposed to 2 separate things. That's what most people do anyway. So I'm fine with that too.
What's your take on that? Why don't you like it?
I'm just copying exactly what John did because it was perfect. Like, I just want to take my friends and go to a house for a night and just exist over there. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, like old times, like hang out,
Yeah.
do what we always do, what's fun, right?
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that. And you don't care either way.
No, not really. I mean, I'm one of those people where I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. So that's why I'm just like, oh, if we did combine that would just solve everything.
I don't either. I don't even know what I want to do for my birthday yet.
Yeah.
No idea. I just want my bucket of Jesus yogurt. And
By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, he's you're talking about the yogurts from the Michoacana from which I introduced you to, by the way. That's what we used to have all the time, and then so you just call them Jesus yogurt, but it's really just so there's different versions. There's like the yogurt, the regular plain yogurt, and the strawberry, which in my opinion is better.
Superior strawberry.
Superior strawberry. Yep. So it's the strawberry flavored yogurt with strawberries in it. Yeah, best one in my opinion. But have you had them?
Oh yeah.
You have?
Oh yeah.
Same. Are you on the same boat? You guys
Yeah,
like?
I definitely like the strawberry one the best. Yes.
Have you had like the mix of fruit, or have you had like strawberries with the plain yogurt and then with the strawberry yogurt, or how have you had what was it like? What have you had?
I think it was the strawberries with strawberry yogurt with the granola on top. That
Right.
was like That's
the
that,
standard strawberry one. Yep.
Yeah, that was I think the only one that I've had.
All that you've had. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
But like I don't think it can get any better than that, to be honest.
I agree with you. I think
That's why they charge more for only strawberries.
Yeah.
It's like $1 surcharge.
yeah,
Because they know that's the goat.
it is. It's sweeter. It has the plain yogurt, right, has less flavor on the yogurt, so it relies more on the fruit. And the fruit that they put in for the regular yogurt, it's fine if you put strawberries in it because it's sweet enough. But if you have like apples and like it's different textures mixed with less sweet fruit.
Yeah, it starts to get lost.
Yeah, the texture feels weird for me at some point because there's a bunch of different textures: soft fruit, hard fruit, seeds in some of them.
Yeah.
And so just at some point it gets like not as good as the strawberry one. Strawberry one is sweet. You have a bunch of endless strawberries, and I personally really like strawberries. So
Yeah, I got him the bucket of Jesus yogurt last year for his birthday. The bucket,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they have a bucket on DoorDash. I think that must have lasted him like 4 days
Yeah.
at least.
It takes a while to get through.
it's a lot of yogurt. I'm surprised that are you lactose intolerant at all? No? Jeez. Yeah, no.
I mean, there was that period where I was for like a couple months, but
You know,
I don't even know what that was.
It's weird. I do go back and forth too. Like some things, sometimes I can handle more dairy but I have noticed as time goes on, I am way more lactose intolerant as the years get on. Like, yeah, some days I'm able to handle more dairy than others, but if I were to compare myself now to 10 years ago, absolutely, I'm more lactose intolerant now. What about you?
I was lactose intolerant for maybe a little bit of my childhood, kind of like him for a couple of months, just because I think I had like some sort of a stomach bug that I had to go to the hospital for. But like, after that, I was fine.
Yeah.
And see, I don't know if it's the same thing with guys, but I also guess it depends on like hormones and stuff too. I don't know how that affects like how
that's a
we
good point.
digest certain foods. So it's different for women than it is for men.
That's fair. Yeah, no. Well, oh, one thing I did want to know. Okay, so no bachelor, no bachelorette, no bachelor party, just hang out how our friend John did, right? Bonfire, all this stuff.
Yep.
What is the plan then for you?
Um, like I said, I'm not good with trying to figure these things out. I don't think we're gonna spend the night in a house together.
Okay.
I was like, oh, maybe we could like go to a concert or something because like, that's my thing. I love going to concerts, but
Yeah.
also at the same time, I'm like, well, what if nobody's in town at the time? So then I got to come up with something else. One of my friends was like, well, what if we did like a boat architecture tour downtown? And I'm like, that would be kind of fun. And then they're like, we could hit up karaoke bars and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't drink that much, but karaoke sounds fun though.
Yeah.
So I think I'm more so just trying to find something that would fit the things that I like.
Yeah.
But it might end up, being kind of like maybe on a different weekend than him, staying in an Airbnb for
Sure.
a night and, watching Labyrinth and, eating crab rangoon or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like fun, I think. And I don't know that there's a wrong way to do it.
I don't think so. No, it's different for every person because, some people, a lot of people go down in Nashville and celebrate their bachelorette parties. I know that's popular. But one of my cousins was telling me she had to throw a bachelorette party for her friend, and it was basically just them, being in their pajamas and watching scary movies. And I'm like, both of those sound great either way. So,
Yeah.
I think at this point, I'm just trying to find out what I'm going to like.
Yeah. No, I there's really no way to know until you try it. And I mean, I hope that goes well. That sounds like fun. Who doesn't want to hang out with friends and do what they normally like to do?
Exactly.
I think it's a good thing to bet will be fun. And so then let's see, September 20th. When's the wedding?
September 26th of
26th.
2026.
So literally a year, in like a year. Any final thoughts? What do you think? What are your hopes for the wedding? What do you hope it'll be like?
Again, that magical scene of Labyrinth pops into my head, like that ballroom scene, where I'm hoping that we can at least capture one moment that's kind of like that. I think at this point, I'm trying to think of everything that could possibly go wrong that day. And the only reason I'm not freaking out about doing that is because I've got a year to figure out, enough of what could go wrong on that day. How can I fix it now, or how can I make myself to be prepared for it on the day of? So I think at this point, I'm just making sure that I have what I need, so that way if something does go wrong, I'm not gonna, because I'm not really bridezilla, like I don't care. But I have a feeling like on that day, I'm gonna be like, if something goes wrong, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, we gotta halt this, we gotta stop it.
Yeah.
Like, but instead I'll already be like, oh hey, I was prepared for this. My button popped, here's the super glue.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
But I also hope that you have enough a grace for yourself that this is your first time ever be doing something like this, and so
Hopefully the only time.
hopefully the only time. But like the you don't have the experience to be like, yeah, I know how to prevent everything from going wrong. And even if you did, there's always the chance. And as they always say, like, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, right?
Well, luckily, being a producer, I get punched in the face a lot.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm fairly resilient in that sense, that I've done that for at least 4 years now. And I'm prepared in planning things out far enough. And so I already have some sort of experience with planning something big.
Yep.
So, I feel a little bit reassured knowing that I have that experience, and I trust myself doing that.
Right. David, what's your hope for the wedding?
I just hope it goes right, I suppose. I'm not thinking about it too much right now because it is kind of far away. I know years kind of go by pretty fast now, but
They do.
it is still, in retrospective, pretty far away. So I'm not thinking about it too much right now.
We'll see. I mean, we'll check back in with you guys. Hopefully sooner than a year, but if not, at least after the wedding, we'll have what did you think before, and what is it really like? Because there's probably going to be some of what you thought, and then some of what you didn't think of, good and bad, right? Like, oh, I wasn't expecting this, pleasantly surprised, and then in some ways, like, oh yeah, I didn't expect this challenge, right? So hopefully, there's at least some of the stuff that's met your expectations of weddings, because you want to have a wedding that you remember, or one that you feel was special. And I know that with two people that care about each other, anything can go wrong, and you'll figure that out.
Exactly. Just like you said before, if something goes wrong that day, we'll figure it out. And hopefully at that point we're already married because he doesn't want to see me beforehand. So if something goes wrong before we see each other, that's a problem.
Yeah, and even if you do, you'll figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll figure it out somehow.
But really appreciate it making time for the conversation and in this lovely place, because this is a great studio setup. Really, if like there was ever like a, what do you call it, on the spot studio, this is it. So maybe we'll have to do that again here once you guys get married.
That'd be great.
Sweet.
Indeed.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll call it a night. It doesn't feel as late as it is, but
Did you win it?
we did win it.
That's right. Welcome to the Today Podcast.
We'll log out with that one. Good night.